What is up, you guys? Today is Tuesday, March 26, 2019. Hope everyone's doing well. In this video, we're going to be talking about Litecoin. Litecoin has been performing exceptionally well over the past few weeks, really months. And we have to talk about Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin accounts for 50% of the value of the entire cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin, one coin, accounts for 50% of the value of all the other almost 2,000 cryptocurrencies. So, pretty much if you're going to be looking at any one coin, you have to relate that to Bitcoin as well. In my opinion, Bitcoin is the market leader, and it just doesn't make sense to look at any chart, no matter how in depth, without looking at Bitcoin as well. Because, if Bitcoin has a major move one way or the other, if Bitcoin would drop $2,000 right now, that, I'll ask you this question. Do you think that would affect more cryptocurrencies? 100%, I would say yes. If Bitcoin dropped 2,000, I'm sure Litecoin would drop its equivalent. I'm sure XRP even. I'm sure Bitcoin Cash, everything would drop as well. So that's because things are still coupled with Bitcoin. And we're going to jump into the charts and everything. We're going, I have my special guest, and he'll do that for you. Get into the charts and everything like that. I'm kind of just doing the introduction. But one thing is very clear. Litecoin has been performing very well, and Bitcoin has been doing good. One thing very clear on the pattern though is Bitcoin forming an ascending wedge, as opposed to what we saw the entire year of 2018, which was a descending wedge for Bitcoin. And I have it pulled up here, and again, I'm gonna pull this up for you on the screen. Pretty much 12 straight months was this descending wedge that ended up. The final move was from 6,400 to about 3,000, so a 50% slash in Bitcoin's price, basically, very violently within a matter of a few weeks. What we're seeing now is a much smaller but clear so far pattern of a rising wedge. And that's what we're going to get to in Bitcoin and relate that to Litecoin. So without any further ado, let's just jump into the charts. Guys, to start off, what did Bitcoin bring us in 2018? What Bitcoin brought us here was a massive descending triangle. You can see that very clearly here. Oh gosh, darn it, those ads. You can see that massive descending triangle here, really from the beginning, the middle of January 2018, until the very end of 2018, basically the middle of November 2018. 11, 12, so many months in that descending triangle right here. And what we ended up seeing at the end of that massive descending triangle was, after a 70% retracement from here, the all-time highs, to 6,000, which was that really good support until it was not, what we saw at the end of that, as this pattern narrowed and narrowed, another 50% drop in its current price, down to 32, from 6,400 US dollars down to 3,400 US dollars. So this was the massive descending triangle we see here, and now we seem to be forming the opposite of that in Bitcoin's price, and this does relate to Litecoin. We'll get to that in a second. This is what we see, the massive, much less massive, but still, a few months, looking on the macro scale, it's very apparent there. That ascending triangle. Instead of a descending triangle right here, you can see where it's descending. This is ascending, as opposed to a wedge. Which would be something where like this, where the line is not horizontal. However, this line is horizontal, this is not. You can see it ascending there. So does that mean that when we get to the end of this one, we'll see a break up? Because we saw a break down at the end of this descending triangle, will we see a break up at the end of this ascending triangle? It is a possibility. I'm not here to say that it is, but that's basically what I'm looking at on Bitcoin's chart, and now we can add that and kind of talk about Litecoin with this perspective in play. So with that being said, how does that relate to Litecoin? So that was Bitcoin here. If Bitcoin, before we get into Litecoin specifically, this does relate, but specifically look at Bitcoin's chart. If we would see a move in the future where we see a huge move up, maybe we go up to 6,000, maybe we get back to 6,000, which would probably be pretty hard resistance to break through, seeing as how it was the support for the entire year of 2018. Phenomenal support until it was not. If we would get to 6,000 within the next few months, that would probably provide a lot of resistance. But I will tell you one thing. If we would break through 6,000 US dollars, maintain it, and maybe for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maintain that, find support there, and move up even a few $100s out of 6,000 after obtaining support, boy, that could be massive, and that could be the beginning of the next run. Breaking 42 is the first major thing. We can see it right here. Big support, big resistance, sorry, right here. And if we break that resistance at 6K, that, in my opinion, would be phenomenal, and I think that would signal the beginning of the next bull market. Breaking 6,000, finding support, moving past it, seeing very nice percentage gains above that, so we know we're kind of past that. Maybe even finding new support slightly above 6,000, maybe 65, 6,600, and then moving past that. I think that would signal the beginning of the next bull run. So taking that and then looking at Litecoin here, and again, I said Litecoin was doing a little bit better, and it clearly is. You can see the channel that has kind of been trading in now. I didn't add this line here because it's kind of not necessarily been a nice looking pattern, but in terms of support, it does seem to be this line so far, this clear line of support, which is much more vertical than Bitcoin. And if a big move would happen with Bitcoin, you bet your booty, in my opinion, I think that we would be having a nice move in Litecoin as well. And guys, just to draw your attention back to this, Litecoin has been performing very well, and it's number 4 in market cap. Let's make sure that we have tokens on here as well. Yes. So Litecoin still is ahead of EOS by about 200 million right now. Bitcoin Cash falling. Remember, it was in the top 3, top 4 for a very long time. Litecoin now in that spot though. Very good. And I think Litecoin, and again, this is a really good time for it to break in to the top. I think it's important now that it's happening because the market is boring. Not much going on yet. Litecoin is proving, and I think this is where fundamentals come more into play. The longer the bear market continues, the longer fundamentals come into play, I think. So with that being said, Litecoin is doing very well. Now, I can't give like I mean, all right, guys, my team and I have devised the perfect strategy, and this is exactly where Litecoin is going to go. Guys, I can't do that, okay? If we zoom out, looking at this simply on the macro scale, you can see where Litecoin is currently at now. It has faced some resistance and support. Those lines are one and the same. Resistance and support, depending on which side of that line it is, it's either resistance, it's either support. They're basically the same thing. Just think of it as like an area where there's like sludge and things slow down. And it's like hard to pull yourself out of it, If you land on it, you're like, oh, cool, I'm not going to fall through as easy. And if you're trying to go up on it, it's like, oh, I can't break through it very much. Think of it as like sludge, like dirty garbage, like sludge. I think that's a perfect analogy, right? Just like maybe like quicksand. If you could come underneath quicksand, or that's a really bad example. So looking at Litecoin here, you can see if we would get above 65, 70-ish, I think there would be some free reign territory to really make a big move. And I think that big move probably would end maybe around 80 or 90. And if you remember back in 2017, 90 was a huge landmark for Litecoin. It was there for a while in the 90s. You can see here, this is where it was kind of stuck for a while. But once it broke 90, because 90, 95, 100, they're so close together, and 100 is a huge number in so many ways. And if Litecoin breaks 100, what we saw last time it broke 100 was a massive, massive rally for Litecoin. I think Litecoin also psychologically has something in play in terms of how even the numbers are. It's in a weird price range where not a lot of cryptocurrencies are. Some cryptos are just a few cents, some are a few dollars. Litecoin is really fluctuating between 1 and 100, and that's kind of been its base for a long time. And I think that's another reason psychologically why people are attracted to it, because of even just its prices. But it has a lot of stuff going for it. With that being said, though, Litecoin, if it were to break 100, I think it very easily could see a moonshot. But right now it's looking good. We have to see what the entire market continues to do. And again, if you want to know what it's gonna continue to do, the only place you can really look to get any idea whatsoever is right here on Bitcoin's chart. And based on this, I think we still have some time to wait. If we look at some indicators here, you can see on the stochastic, we are most likely going to see a little curve up here in the near future. We don't see it yet. You see how we have these in the past when we get down to this 7 range, right around here between 0 and 7, I guess you could say. So we're most likely going to see a curve up there soon. We are seeing it on the RSI very slightly here. You can see that little curve. Another thing, though, you continue to see, look at this volume on Bitcoin. It is so absolutely low. the volume is so terribly low right now. So that could be an indicator to look out for, because will a major move happen after we, usually when volume reaches, it continues to decline and then you see a spike up. We can look at it here. You can see the volume declining and declining, and then there was a move up. You see it increase, right? When people start buying, the volume goes up. When people start selling, the volume goes up. If people don't do anything, there's not a lot of volume. Volume is kind of just the measure of what's going on in the market, right? Guys, let me know what you think. As I'm recording this video, actually, Litecoin continues to tumble. So let's take a look on a 4-hour. We can just take a look. We can take a little sneak peek. Guys, I'm not really bullshitting too much today, just because I'm not in the mood to bullshit too much. By the way, if you're watching this video and you're like, oh, he has his glasses on, I'm kind of just being honest about the market and not really spending a lot of time bullshitting, just because, I don't know, it's just not the mood I'm in. My videos are heavily based on how I'm feeling each single day, so take that for what it's worth. You're kind of going to get what you're going to get every single day, and it's going to be different. Looking at Litecoin here on the 4-hour, though, yeah, you see a little bit of somewhat of a downtrend. If we refresh this, what was it, down 1.58, 1.61? So, continued downtrend. Very, very slightly, though. Although in the macro, I think we're going to be, absolutely fine. I don't think we're going to see much lower prices in general. Do I think we're going to see a $20 Litecoin? Do I think we're going to see... That's a good question. Do I think we are going to see a $20 Litecoin? Because we did get all the way down to 22. We never quite got down to $20 or below that. Do I think we're going to see $20 or lower? Sub $20 Litecoin? That is a really good question. And I wish I had the answer. Based on the length of the previous bear market, though, and that's why we have to go to Bitcoin again to measure this. Based on the length of the previous bear market, and based on just how this market has gone, the drastic drops we've seen, I don't necessarily think we're going to have another 50% slash in Bitcoin's price. What is it at now? 4,000? Do I think it's going to get slashed into 2,000? Like it did back in November and December of 2018? I don't think so. I'm not going to discount it because anything can happen. Do I personally think so, though? I would say probably not. I think we're kind of on the half of the spectrum now where things are going to inch its way towards more positivity, kind of like spring. How, when spring rolls around, it gets to March, April, you don't expect snow. You expect more sunshine in the, the coming months. So I think we're going to kind of see something like that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. Thank you so much. Love you guys so much. And I will see you in the next video.